Sukuna is probably the most controversial character I've seen in UCDR by a long shot. Every person I've met literally hates this guy and wants him gone. And it's been like this throughout his entire history of existing as a character. Naturally, this would bring up the question of what part of his kit is flawed in such a way that pretty much everyone hates him, which is what I'll try to be answering and provide some insights or ways to go about fixing him. A quick heads up, I will not be addressing Vessel in this video, as the Vessel is incomplete and I sort of do want to touch on 2-player characters in another video. So as per usual, I'll just be going over his kit so you can understand where I'm coming from a bit better. Timestamps will be displayed right now if you just want to skip to a certain part. Conclusion will include a short form answer if you just want to see that. Sukuna has a total of 80 health. He can sprint up to 8.5 seconds and regenerate all of his stamina and mana in 5 seconds. Unsurprisingly, he's a rushdown character. We have too many rushdown characters. He has a ton of block breakers at his disposal as well as super armor breakers. In addition to this, Sukuna has an extreme amount of mobility with his moves. Despite Sukuna being one of the more newer characters, they have the most amount of moves, sitting around 40 plus moves. He has both melee and projectile counters, as well as 3 ultimates to go alongside it. Sukuna has no notable passives, however has 5 gimmicks instead, which I'll be unfortunately talking about. Anyways, ignoring what I just said, Sukuna's first gimmick is his Shrine Meter. If Sukuna doesn't have any Shrine Meter, he cannot use most of his Shrine moves, with a few exceptions being to this, which I'll put on the screen right now. You can fill up the Shrine Meter by just landing your normal moves. Much similar to his first gimmick, Sukuna's second gimmick is his Cursed Energy Bar. The meter is mainly used for special attacks with a few exceptions. You gain 1% of this bar for every 5 damage dealt. Sukuna's third gimmick is that some of his moves will have quick time events on them, which most of the time, if you cannot land this quick time event, it'll use a weaker version of the move or just cancels the move entirely. His fourth gimmick is that his block is changed to deflection. This works like a standard block, however you cannot hold it. In exchange for his block being unable to be held, he suffers no end lag from holding his block. Finally, his fifth gimmick is his Fent. Holding Q before a move will allow you to Fent it, which means his attack animations will still play, however the move's hitbox won't spawn in. This puts the move on a lower cooldown than usual, and most of his melee moves with slashes cannot be vented. Sorry, without slashes. With his gimmicks out of the way, let's go over his important attacks. Surprisingly for a character with 40 moves, he doesn't actually have a lot of moves that stand out. Normal 4. Sukuna vanishes and locks both players' cameras to face the opponent. After a short time, he dashes extremely quickly towards the opponent. This breaks block and up to level 2 super armor and grants level 3 super armor. Sukuna R&B. Sukuna leaps himself diagonally into the air, just like Dark Lord, but cooler. Shrine 1. Sukuna throws a punch forward with a quick time event. Hitting this quick time event will play a cutscene. If it's missed, it'll just deal 2 damage instead. Shrine 4. Sukuna throws an explosion of slashes around him. This destroys any approaching projectiles for the next 16 seconds. Shrine 5. Sukuna touches the opponent's chest before firing multiple slashes at them. This has a QTE and plays a small cutscene if landed. This breaks level 2 super armor and block. Shrine 6. I don't have any idea how to describe this. You know, like the little grids that the math sheets have, the grid papers? It looks like that, and you just gotta stand in between the boxes to not get hit. This also requires a quick time event. Breaks level 2 super armor and block. Sukuna gets iframes if he lands the quick time event. Shrine Air 6. Sukuna summons a barrage of slashes below him, breaking up to level 2 super armor and breaks block. Shrine 7. Sukuna unleashes his domain expansion from the original series. This uses 80% cursed energy and deals 20 to 30 damage to every single player in the server that's in the blast radius. Has a huge windup. Shrine 8. Sukuna summons a fire arrow, which gives him access to the furnace mode. There are 6 moves in this mode. Each move you press will give Fuga a power up. Each move costs 5% cursed energy. Now that we've gotten his unique moves out of the way, let's talk about the properties that the moves have. To keep this interesting, I want you to guess how many super armor breakers Sukuna has. Maybe 2? Maybe 3? Nope, Sukuna has 9 super armor breakers. I'll put them all on the screen right now. that being everything on the screen. Of these 9 super armor breakers, every single one of these break level 2. Now let's play a guessing game on his block breakers. Maybe 6 or 7? No, it's 18. Sukuna has 18 block breakers. That being everything on the screen right now. Sukuna has 40 moves, so you could make the argument that due to the amount of moves he is obviously going to have more block breakers or super armor breakers, which is fair, but we're going to do some math here. If Sukuna has 40 moves for simplicity's sake, that means 22.5% of his total moves break level 2 super armor. Now let's take a look at Dark Lord. For math's sake, we'll just say he has 40 moves, it's 39 or 41 if you're curious. In his Virebots phase, he only has 4 super armor breakers, which only makes her up for 10% of his kit. If you want another comparison, take Glitchtale Chara. They have 22 moves, however they only have 2 super armor breakers, which is only 9% of those total kit. One of these moves break level 1, so they actually only have 1 level 2 super armor breaker. If we pretend that the average character shares the median percentage amount of super armor breakers between Dark Lord and Glitchtale Chara, that means the average character would have about a 9.5% move to super armor breaker ratio. The difference between the average character and Sukuna would be 13% in super armor breakers. To put it in more simpler terms, about 2 in 9 Sukuna breaker armors break level 2, while only 1 in 11 moves on the average character between Dark Lord and Glitchtale Chara would break level 2 super armor. Now let's be clear about something here though. A few of these moves are either ultimates or have a high cooldown, which is fine, but if Sukuna is resourceful for any of his moves on the on-to-go super armor breakers, landing a long wind-up super armor move like Special Hell is essentially impossible. In fact, this is sort of what his Shrine 5 was built to do. So Sukuna doesn't even really need to be resourceful with these super armor breakers to break an ultimate move, whereas a character like Sans or Glitchtale Chara both need to be resourceful with their super armor breakers to cancel the move. Moving on to my next point, let's talk about block breakers as I have previously mentioned. If Sukuna does actually have 18 block breakers according to the Trello, that means 45% of his moves are block breakers. In other words, that's almost every secondary move in his kit that will break block. Realistically speaking, most of the time you are not blocking against Sukuna, as all of his projectiles can be avoided by pressing A/D or just jumping. That doesn't mean it's fine for Sukuna to have this much block breakers though. There's no benefit of the doubt I'm giving for Sukuna here, because unlike super armor breakers, most of the moves you can just throw out and it'll probably work against block without you even realizing it. The next thing I'm going to bring up is his domain. The domain hitting every player in the server is one of the most horrible features to ever exist in this game. In my experience, it does nothing but force you to reset or buy a heal if you don't want to be low in the next fight in your half. Now luckily the only saving grace is that this does not affect players already in combat. However, if the Sukuna or another player chooses to go after you after this happens, you are most likely fighting the player with at least 1/3 of your max health gone. For characters like Marisa, this is even worse, since Marisa has 50 health and the domain usually deals towards 20 to 30 damage. That being said, the saving grace I mentioned sometimes doesn't even work properly. Take this clip for example. Now, let's talk about QuickTime systems with that out of the way. Do not be fooled by this system. It may seem cool and rewarding, however the actual reality of it is that most of these QuickTime events are ping-based, meaning players with high ping are pretty hindered. If we take ping out of the question, this system is still pretty bad. This is supposed to act as a skill check, however it's more of a memorization check. Not to mention to the fact that this system doesn't really add anything to him. The problem with these QuickTime events is landing a QuickTime event is supposed to feel rewarding, thus automatically making any move with this QuickTime event forced to be stronger rather than actually balanced. Take Shrine 5 for example. It deals 7 damage, but aside from the fact that there's a QuickTime event, there's no reason why this should deal 7 damage. It's just a basic grab with the cutscene. Venting is sort of useless, I'm not gonna lie. It's extremely obvious due to the sped up animation. Some of the time it's not even worth using, because if you vent, that means the opponent knows that you actually have this move off cooldown. thus allowing them to see it coming. Venting is still useful, don't get me wrong. However, it's not really worth using because, again, the opponent knows you have it off cooldown, and because venting still puts the move on cooldown, the opponent could just act without having to worry that you have the move ready for a bit. This point is more opinion-based, though. This is all pretty negative, though, so I want to say that I actually like Sakuga's design a lot. It's an interesting spin to give a move its own sort of moveset and customizability. It's fairly easy to cancel if you manage your resources too, so it's fairly fun for both sides. I'm going to go point by point for this, and going to keep it short and sweet. This video is already pretty long because of the kit review rant. So, firstly, I suggest reducing the amount of block breakers Sukuna has. Not sure what moves need to particularly be nerfed, but I'll leave that up to you. Reduce the level of super armor breakers Sukuna has. Not every move should break level 2. This can be done by changing super armor breakers to be either level 1 or just not applying the super armor breaker function. Sukuna should stick to having 1 or 2 level super armor breakers outside of ultimate. Remove quick time events or rework the moves to just have variants. This would require nerfing moves like Shrine 5. Make Domain not hit other players. It really just takes away from the game and often irritates players. So, to answer the question of this video, no, he's not really well designed. At least not in his current state. His quick time system, Domain, and just the amount of block breakers and super armor breakers he has makes fighting him really unenjoyable. It doesn't help how his Domain hurts every player like I've mentioned. Although maybe fighting him with some of the adjustments I suggested would help a bit more. I didn't speak on the range of the slashes as I'm no Sukuna player, so I can't really tell you what needs to be adjusted there. This video was really fun to make, in all honesty. There's so much stuff to poke fun at with Sukuna's kit, so it was generally fun researching this and writing the script. I just want to say Sukuna doesn't ruin the game or anything. I think he could be a lot more fun to go against with some of the stuff balanced out that I've suggested. Or just taking other players' feedback, really. Anyways, that's the end of the video. Let me know in the comments if you want to see more kit reviews involving statistical properties on moves. I think that's the term. I'm referring to just showcasing how many percentage of moves do what. Like how I said, like Sukuna breaks 45% of blocks for every move he has. Also, videos might be a bit slower due to the fact that I'm going to be putting a bit more effort into studying for school. Like, comment, subscribe, like, comment, subscribe. Also, if the owner is watching Pet Free Pacifist, also hope you're having a good day. https://tenor.com/view/agent animation versus animation Alan Becker AVA pause GIF 445593359983401724